Hi, I'm Laura from Everyday Adventurous Images, and this is a video tutorial series on creating bespoke movement artwork with Snapseed. In the series, I'm going to share with you all of my hints, tips, and photo editing secrets on how to turn shots like these into works of movement art like these. So, how does it work? The series comprises of 8 video tutorials split into 3 parts. In the first part, creating your image, step-by-step guides will show you how to use Snapseed to stitch together your photos to create the 3 different types of movement images that I use most often. Burst shots, shadow shots, and echo shots. In the second part, adding style, are 3 guides dedicated to using the looks and editing tools within Snapseed, including a dedicated guide to creating colour splash images. In the third part, Getting Technical, are 2 bonus guides which will help to make your photo editing life so much easier. These guides will enable you to consistently produce high quality edits in a fraction of the time. This is Tutorial 5, Using Tools. Use Snapseed's editing tools to create your own bespoke styles. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at what are tools, the types of tools available in Snapseed, how to use tools for editing and style, and how to use tools for effects and final touches. Okay, so let's get started with what are tools. Tools are the names given to the manual editing functions within Snapseed. There are 28 tools in total, which can be used alone or combined to create unique styles, and can be used to create your own looks. Great, so now we know what they are, let's have a closer look at the different types of tools available in Snapseed. I'm going to group the 28 tools into 4 groups. Group 1 is editing. These are fixing tools used to correct blemishes or issues with a photo, and as you've already seen, used for stitching together multiple shots. Group 2 is style. These are tools for fine-tuning and sharpening, and for adjusting colours, tones and brightness. Group 3 is effects. These are the creative tools that can transform images into works of art. They can be used alone or combined to create unlimited effects. And Group 4 is final touches. Tools which add a frame or text directly to your image and can add a whole other dimension to your photos. So now you know the different types of tools available to you, we can go ahead and start using them. Starting off with the editing tools that I use most often. As we've mentioned, the editing tools are fixing tools, used to correct blemishes or issues with a photo and used for stitching together multiple shots. The editing tools I use most often are Rotate, Crop, Healing, and Double Exposure. And if I'm using them all, I found using them in this order gives the best results. So let's start with Rotate. The Rotate tool is an easy way to straighten up a photo that is slightly off level. To do this, just tap Tools and tap Rotate. If there's an obvious line that's off level, then the tool will try to automatically straighten the shot. If not, then you can do this manually by moving your finger to the left or the right to tilt the shot and straighten it. Then simply tap the Done tick when you're happy. Next up is Crop. The Crop tool enables you to crop off any unwanted edges, centre a subject in the middle of your shot, and to alter the size ratio of your image to fit whatever app or frame shape you need. To do this, just tap Tools and tap Crop from the Tools menu. As you'll see, the Crop menu offers 9 different size ratios. Free lets you size your shot to whatever height and width you want without constraints. Original allows you to resize your image whilst keeping the original proportions. Then there's DIN, which is the ratio used in paper sizes such as A4, A3 and A2. Square, which is perfect for Instagram grid photos. 3:2, which is the ratio typically found on digital SLR cameras. 4:3, which is the standard iPhone photo ratio. 5:4, which corresponds with some of the larger frame sizes you can buy, such as 8:10 and 16:20. 7:5, which corresponds with the ratio for 7:5" photo prints. And 16:9, which is the ratio used for videos and is perfect for Instagram stories too. I'm going to stick with the original proportions for this image. So I'm going to tap Original. And then I'm going to crop the image by putting one finger on the top edge of the image and dragging downwards to the size that I want it to be. There we go. Then with one finger on the image, I'm going to drag the frame around until the subject is closer to the centre. And once I'm happy, I'm going to tap the Done tick. Next up, Healing. The Healing tool works as an eraser to cover up blemishes or areas that distract the eye from the intended shot. To use Healing, just tap Tools and tap the Healing icon from the Tools menu. Then use 2 fingers to move around the screen and to zoom in and out until the circle on the screen covers the spot you wish to erase. Then simply tap it. And just like magic, your spot is covered using copies of the area surrounding it. You can use the Healing tool as many times as you like on your image. And if you change your mind, just tap the Undo arrow at the bottom left of the screen to undo. And once you're happy, you can tap the Done tick. Next up is Double Exposure. As you've seen in our burst, shadow and echo shot tutorials, double exposure is the ultimate in editing tools. So we'll do a quick recap of how to use it here. So first of all, tap Tools and then scroll down and tap Double Exposure. You can then tap the image icon at the bottom left of the screen and open up your chosen shot from Albums. As you know by now, mine are saved in burst, but yours will probably be in recents. And then just tap on your shot. So first of all, you can use two fingers to move and to zoom the image to position it in place. We're going for a shadow shot here. And then tap the style icon to review and select a style. I'm going to choose lighten for this shot. You can then tap opacity and then move the slider along with your finger to find the best level of transparency for your shot. And once you're happy with the shot, you can then tap the done tick and that's your edited image right there. Once we've edited our shots, we can then start to look at using the style tools. I'm going to use a different shot here to better show you the effects that some of these tools can have. As we've mentioned, the style tools are used for fine-tuning, sharpening, and adjusting colours, tones and brightness. The style tools I use most often are Tune Image, Details, HDRscape and Brush. These tools can really have an effect on the quality of a photo, even if it started off a little under or overexposed. So if your shots aren't perfect at first, then a little perseverance with the style tools is definitely worth it. So let's start with Tune Image. Tune Image allows you to fine-tune the colour and exposure of your image. To do this, just tap Tools and tap the Tune Image icon at the top left. This opens up the Tune Image screen. There is a one-touch auto-adjust icon on the bottom right, but I prefer to use the adjust icon on the bottom left to manually tune the image. So tap Adjust to open the Tune Image menu, and you'll see that the options include brightness, which lightens or darkens the entire image, contrast, which increases or decreases the difference between the light and dark areas in your image, saturation, which makes the colours in your image more or less vibrant, ambience, a clever little feature which adjusts saturation and contrast together, highlights, which lightens and darkens just the bright area of the image, shadows, which lightens or darkens just the dark areas of the image, and warmth, which adds a warm or cool glow to the entire image. For this shot, I'm first going to adjust the brightness of the image. So tap Brightness, and then slide your finger right and left across the screen to increase or decrease the overall brightness of your shot. I think we definitely need to increase the brightness on this one. There we go. So next I'm going to adjust the ambience. So I'll tap Adjust again, scroll down to Ambience, and again slide a finger right and left to increase or decrease the balance of light of the shot. Yeah, I think that increase looks great. And once we're done, we can simply tap the Done tick. Next up is Details. The Details tool enhances the texture of objects throughout your image and can really make your shots pop. To use this tool, just tap Tools and then tap Details from the Tools menu. First, adjust the structure by dragging your finger right or left to increase or decrease the details and texture. I think we'll increase this one quite a lot to get a lot of the details in the sea and the sky. You can then tap the Adjust icon and select Sharpening, and then drag your finger to the right to increase the amount of sharpness in the details of the image. Just have a play with this one. See what effect it has. Can be quite subtle. I think we'll go with there for this one. And then simply tap the Done tick when you're happy. Next up, HDRscape. The HDR or High Dynamic Range filter adds details and colour to produce an image that is vibrant and full of texture. To use this filter, just tap Tools and tap HDRscape from the Tools menu. There are 4 styles to choose from: Nature, People, Fine, and Strong. Each one can give your shot a different effect, so just tap through to see which one works best for your shot. For this shot, I'm going to select People. As you'll see, the filter strength defaults to +50, which can be really strong and total overkill on some photos. So it's often helpful to tone it down using Adjust. So just tap the Adjust icon, tap Filter Strength, and then you can adjust the filter strength by moving your finger across the screen to the right and to the left to increase and decrease. And then tap the Done tick when you're happy. The last of our style tools is Brush. This is a real gem of a tool that allows you to selectively tune up different areas of the image as much or as little as you need. To do this, just tap Tools and tap Brush from the Tools menu. As you can see, there are 4 brush options. Dodge and Burn, which you can use to lighten or darken areas of the image. Exposure, which increases or decreases the exposure of areas of the image. Temperature, which you can use to paint cool or warm tones to areas of the image. And Saturation, which can be used to increase or decrease the vibrancy of areas of the image. First, I'm going to use Exposure. So tap Exposure and paint in the area that you want to increase the exposure. I'm going to tap the eye icon so you can see where I'm painting. You tap the eye again, we can see the effect. You can erase this by using the exposure arrows to reduce from 0.7 to Eraser, and then painting over the same area. If you want to reduce the exposure, you can use the exposure arrows again to reduce to -0.3. Tap the eye icon again so you can see where I'm painting. Reduce the exposure of the whole sky. And there we go. I think actually this looks too dark, so I'm going to erase again, change the arrows to eraser, and go over the whole sky to take that effect off. Next, I'm going to move on to saturation. So tap the brush menu and tap saturation on the right. You can use the arrows to select the intensity of saturation that you want to paint in. And then again, just use your finger as a paintbrush to the area you want to add colour vibrancy to. So we tap the eye icon so you can see where I'm painting. And there you go, when we take it off, you can see the effect that that's had in making the sky really vibrant. And as always, simply tap the done tick when you're happy. Once we've worked our magic with the style tools, we can start to get really creative using the effects and finishing touches tools. The effects tools can transform your photos into works of art, and the final touches tools can add another dimension of creativity to your final image. Of these, the tools I use most often are grunge, drama, frames, and text. So let's start with grunge. The grunge filter adds a random texture to your image and changes the colours and brightness to give a really unique finish. To use it, tap Tools and scroll down the Tools menu till you find grunge, and then tap it. The grunge screen then opens up and we'll have auto-selected a grunge style already. I think the app is really good at auto-selecting, and I often end up going with this style, but you'll definitely want to have a play with the options before you make your final choice on this one. So to open up the grunge menu, tap the adjust icon, which brings up the various adjust options. These include style. Swiping to the left and right changes the colours, brightness and saturation within your image. You can experiment with the different positions of this control to find the style that works best for your photo. Brightness. Swiping this control to the right will brighten the entire photo, while swiping to the left will darken it. Contrast. Increases the difference between the brightest object and the darkest object. Swiping to the right will increase the contrast, swiping to the left will reduce the contrast. Saturation. Swiping to the right will increase the vibrancy of the colours in your image, while swiping to the left decreases the saturation. And texture strength. Swiping to the right increases the visibility of the texture in the image. Swiping to the left makes the texture more subtle. You can play with these adjustments to your heart's content to get the best look for each of your shots, but I'm going to stick with the auto suggestions. Next, you can tap the texture icon. This opens up the 5 available textures. You can tap each one multiple times to explore all the different textures. I'm going to stick with number 1 for this image. And you can simply tap the done tick when you're happy. As you can see, I'm going bold here, totally over the top, to show you just how much of an effect these tools can have on an image. But they can, of course, be used more subtly, in a way that enhances rather than dominates the shot. And you'll learn much more about this as you continue through the tutorials. Next up, Drama. The Drama tool allows you to create highly stylized images. Drama enhances textures, details and colours to create a unique effect for each image. To try it out, just tap Tools and tap Drama to open up the Drama screen. As with Grunge, the app will suggest a drama style for your shot on opening. And again, it's often a pretty good fit for each image, but it's definitely worth having a play with the options. There are 6 drama styles. 2 called Drama, 2 Bright, and 2 Dark. Each one varies the light and the intensity of the effect, completely changing the feel of the image. For this shot, I'm going to choose Drama 2. You can then tap the Adjust icon to play with the filter strength and saturation of the image. Just swipe your finger left and right to increase and decrease. First the filter strength, and then the saturation. Then simply tap the Done tick when you're happy. Okay, so we're nearly there. We're on to our last 2 tools, the Final Touches tools. Up first is Frames. Frames are great for adding a special touch and a bit of emphasis to a shot. Lots of people use frames on Instagram to make their grid a little bit different, and I often use them when sending photos to friends. So tap Tools and scroll right to the bottom to find and then tap Frames. There are loads of frame styles, and you can just tap on each one to try them out against your image. Once you've decided on a frame style, I'm going to go for number 4. You can then go ahead and swipe left and right to adjust the frame width. Then tap the Done tick when you're happy. Right, this is it, last one, and it's text. The Text tool offers you a number of fonts and styles to add a few words to your images. Great for adding captions, watermarks and short quotes to your shots. So just tap Tools and scroll down until you find the text icon and tap Text. Your image will open up with a text box on top, which handily says double tap to change the text. So let's do that first. Double tap, then double tap again on the text box and start typing your message. And once you're done, tap OK. You can then start to play with positioning, styles, colours and opacity. So to position your text, just drag it around the screen with one finger. Then you can tap the style icon. The various styles available will appear on the screen, and you can tap each one to see the effect it has on your text. Some are classy and subtle, some are much more punchy and fun. I think for this image I'm going to choose one of the Neo badge styles. I'm going to go with N3. So now I've chosen my style, I can drag it around, reposition it. So just one finger on the text, drag it to the top right, and then go ahead and tap the colour palette icon. And scroll through the different colours available. Tap each one, try it out, see how it looks. There's a pretty decent selection of colours, so you should be able to find something that works. And after saying all that, I'm going to scroll right back to the beginning and stick with white. Lastly, you can play with the opacity of your text. So to do this, you just tap the opacity icon in the middle, and you can then drag the slider left and right to make it more or less transparent. And if you tap the invert icon, you get a completely different style, with the text emphasised and the image faded into the background. You can just tap again to return to normal. Then simply tap the done tick when you're happy, and tap export to choose a save option to save your shot to your photos. And that's it. You now know what are tools, the different types of tools available in Snapseed, how to use tools for editing and style, and how to use tools for effects and final touches. So, what next? Now you've completed the Using Tools tutorial and you know all about the individual editing tools that will help you to create your very own unique styles of movement art, it's time to move on to Colour Splash, to learn how to make your photos pop with a splash of colour. Then what? Share your images on Instagram using the hashtag #MoveSnappers. I'd love to see your shots and I'll happily give you pointers on there too. And if you want my help creating bespoke images from your photos, just head on over to the website everydayadventurous.com/images to commission me to create your very own work of movement art. Bye for now, Move Snappers.